I don't want my people and my family and my community and my beautiful Gaza to merely become a social media phenomenon where it is on display for people to look at and say, wow, look at this, is so horrible.
That's the only way.
This was absolutely sickening to watch. So a Palestinian who is a more peaceful activist goes on Jubilee, and he's arguing that maybe they should try to negotiate with Israel. Maybe they should try to find a common ground. Maybe it's a two-state solution. So he's not as extreme. Now, I completely disagree with a lot of his points, but he's not as extreme. And then there are all these activists that have nothing to do with the Palestinian movement. They're not Palestinian. They're not from the region. And they're arguing the other side, that Israel, the fight against Israel has to be extreme and it has to be violent. And watch this Palestinian activist, Palestinian or so-called Palestinian, go ahead and basically bemoan the fact that his movement, his people have become a social media movement, that, they've turned Gaza and suffering into a hashtag free Palestine. It becomes a joke. And then the Jubilee activist goes ahead and basically says, no, that's the only way. And it's honestly both sick and hilarious at the same time.
I don't want my people and my family and my community and my beautiful Gaza that has meant so much to the Palestinian people there and to what remains of my family to merely become a social media phenomenon where it is on display for people to look at and say, wow, look at this, is so horrible.
That's the only way. That's the only way that they can.
What? So she says, so he's just like, I don't want my family to become a social media meme where everybody is saying, oh, look at the poor Gazans. Like, I don't need that. I don't need their fake sympathy. That's the only way. That's the only way to topple Israel. Hold on.
Only way. That's the only way that they can get people to recognize just how bad it really is, because there is no mainstream media covering what has been going on for 80 years. It's all skewed media.
So may I just clarify? Because if so, that sounds really awful what I just heard you say. You're saying that you want to see images of dead Palestinians. You want to
No one wants to see those images. But if that's what it takes to get people to recognize what's actually going on instead of another Middle Eastern war, then that's what it takes. It's tragic that that's what it took.
Do you not recognize that Hamas, in official communiques, has and publicly and overtly has made it clear that part of their strategy relies on causing maximum death and destruction in Gaza, so that the ensuing
in response to Netanyahu blatantly saying that his goal is ethnic cleansing.
May I just finish this point, please? That Hamas wants to generate maximum death and destruction on the ground in Gaza in hopes that the ensuing imagery can actually rile up the international community, rile up folks in the Western diaspora on college campuses, so that then this could delegitimize Israel, so that this could stop the war.
Basically, she is the Hamas activist. She is, I want to continue the Hamas strategy. It's working very well. And he's saying, listen, October 7th wasn't good. Like, it didn't help us. And these activists are like, no, you Gazans, you have to suffer. You have to suffer for us to feel morally virtuous. I mean, this is unbelievably, you have to understand how thick you have to be. You're talking to somebody who actually lived in the region, who actually grew up with, and a lot of his family members were killed. And you're telling him, no, you guys have to keep fighting Israel until the last man, so we can continue to post on Instagram, hashtag free Palestine. This woman has zero problem with that. Zero problem with telling him that to his face. I mean, think about how incredibly out of touch with reality you have to be to say your people have to suffer so that the fake movement in the West can do well. And this is what I've been saying from the beginning. It has zero to do with helping these Gazans, because if it were, they would advocate for them to be taken out of Gaza, taken out of a war zone, and brought safely to another Arab, Muslim country in the region. But no. They want them to stay in Gaza. They want them to continue to suffer, and they want them to continue to send videos. Oh, look what's happening to us. Look what's happening. And it's all the IDF's fault, instead of actually going ahead and putting the blame on the people that caused this, which is Hamas. Starting on October 7th, and even before then. I mean, you're talking about it doesn't start on October 7th. There were many Gaza wars, which were all started by Hamas. Intifada is this, Intifada that. Unfreaking believable how this woman can even live with herself, going in front of somebody that is trying to be a peace activist, even though he lost everything. And this man actually lost everything. Even though he lost dozens of family members, he's trying to find a way to peace, which is probably the best way to go, and trying to find a way he can coincide with Israel. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The Palestinians of the West, the Palestinian movement, is a completely fraudulent movement. They don't care about the Palestinians. They don't care about the Gazans. They don't care about the people on the ground. What they're trying to do is get as much human suffering as possible in order for their movement to expand and to get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's all it is. Our channel was just demonetized, and therefore to support the channel, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. We are working on fixing the issue. Hopefully we will be remonetized shortly. We are in contact with YouTube, and we'll give you a video update very soon. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.